Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about what looks to be yet another guilty plea by ultra loyal, longtime Trump servant, not just to Donald, but to Fred, Father Trump, of Allen Weisselberg. He's the CFO of the company. We've seen him. He's 76. He's already done time in Rikers Island for crimes committed as part of Trump organization. He's the sort of ultimate, loyal bookkeeper who didn't turn on the boss and has done everything not to, and the total roadkill. Really, his life has been ruined, and still he has soldiered on. All right, he is now apparently looking at having to plead guilty or be charged, and he would plead guilty for lying, committing perjury on the stand in Trump's latest civil fraud trial that we're still, awaiting the final opinion in. And it doesn't look like, I think it's going to be the same thing. Weisselberg now just says, okay, you got me, and will plead, but won't cooperate. He's just refused all efforts to get him to cooperate against Trump, and he's going to, it would appear, go to finish his life as not having been disloyal. He's made a sort of choice. He's a little bit Frank Pentangeli figure from The Godfather, who winds up committing suicide in prison, just to the extent you conceptualize, and I think this metaphor has legs. The whole Trump situation is a mob boss and a mob family. All right, what's the lie? It's not clear. This is just what seems like a pretty well-sourced New York Times report. So I think it's going to happen, and probably soon, like early next week. You normally would get this when it's really coming to fruition, but there is a pretty likely culprit, and it's the big triplex, which is not as big, not 30,000 feet, as Trump has continually claimed, and is a classic kind of unavoidable example of Trump's inflation of his properties. The other ones he's tried to say, well, accountants, subjective, don't believe, valuations are loosey-goosey. 30,000 feet is 30,000 feet and not 10,000 feet. And Weisselberg, when he testified, basically said he hadn't really focused on that detail, the detail of, he sort of poo-pooed it as if it was just a careless mistake. That seems to have been a lie, because there was a magazine article coming out when the revelation first surfaced, and Weisselberg seems to have been pretty involved in trying to talk the Forbes author, the journalist, back from making a point of this article and the grotesquely inflated estimate, and it really looks to be false. Now, it's not a huge detail, and it probably doesn't affect the fraud trial itself, but prosecutors don't like perjury, and for good reason. And interestingly, after this came out, after he said on the stand, I hadn't really focused on it, his testimony, and remember, he's a defendant in the case, abruptly stops. So I think that's a pretty decent bet of what's, he's going to plead guilty to. And perjury is perjury, and he has abetted Trump in so many ways. Nevertheless, he just seems like a totally, broken shell of a man who had the great misfortune of putting his professional life in with rogues and criminals. And, he's now, he'll be in front of the court and just, basically throw up his hands and say, yes, I did it, Your Honor. That may, by the way, be something that Engoron in the civil fraud trial could consider when he issues his opinion. In fact, it might be a reason, as I said in the other YouTube, that his opinion now isn't expected until mid-February. Putting this just in a little bit more context, the Bragg and the DA and the AG, Letitia James, have been investigating Trump organization and Trump and officers on a couple different theories. And Bragg himself has now settled for the trial he's about to bring on the Stormy Daniels issue. But there was a time when this false valuation that really figured front and center in the fraud case, and you may remember this, it's been a while ago, was really directly in actually Cyrus Vance's sights. It was a big part of the case. Mark Pomerantz has written about it and the like. So one reason perhaps to just let Weisselberg plead guilty and take his lumps and not push harder for him to cooperate against Trump is that the detail, the 30,000 versus 10,000 square foot estimate of the apartment doesn't have anything to do with what the criminal charges that Bragg's office have settled on. So in that way, it didn't materially deter the case that they have decided to bring. But anyway, perjury is perjury. It's serious, and Weisselberg, it looks like, will, stand up slumped shouldered and a broken man and tell the court, yeah, he committed a crime, another crime for Donald Trump. You can charge this as either a felony or misdemeanor. We'll see what the DA's office wants to do, but Weisselberg doesn't look to be in much of a position to fight it. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.